I said I would do it, and today is the day. I'm going to be comparing Ford's King Ranch to Ram's Longhorn. If you don't know, these are the most cowboy trucks you can buy in the market today. And I borrowed them from Ken Garff, Ford, and Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in West Valley, Utah. Both of these trucks are available for sale. I'm going to show you the window stickers, but I already did all the pricing on my phone here because this is a long bed, this is a standard bed. I know some of you guys think that I have magical powers where I can just like wave my hand like this and then I can get exactly the truck I want, but things don't work that way in the real world. So I have to work with what I have. And yes, I'm comparing a long bed to a standard bed because that's what I have in front of me. Let's check out the window stickers. Now you may remember I did a video on this truck already. This is the Ram 3500. As I said, long bed, 4-wheel drive. And here are all the options for this truck. Now, yes, you can buy a Longhorn over $100,000. This one does have the air suspension, 50-gallon fuel tank because of the long bed. It allows for that. And it does have that Longhorn level 1 equipment group. Let's check out the Ford. Here's the description for the Ford. Marsh gray is the color. Short listing of the standard features. And then here are all the options. So the biggest one being the high output power stroke. And this one does have the chrome package too. Twin panel is an add-on option for this truck as well. Rapid heat. So it has a lot of small features, but no like packages, right? Base price is $79,075. Destination is $25,995 for a total price of $101,630. No shocker there. Ford has typically been the more expensive truck, even when the Ram has a longer bed, which does cost more money. If you're looking at standard bed pickups from Ford and Ram, base price for the Ford's $82,170. The Ram's going to cost you $81,435. Now, that's a price difference of $735. Yes, Ram's cheaper. Now, if you're looking at long bed configurations, the base price for the Ford's going to be $82,365. The Ram's long bed's going to be $81,145. That's a difference of $1,220, and that is including destination. Now, with that being said, I don't know if you guys caught that. The long bed Ram costs less than the standard bed Ram. Now I'm talking about crew cab configuration, not mega cab. Now you might be wondering, well, why the heck is that? It's simply because Rams do have an option for Ram boxes on the shorter beds. So that's why my theory is the long bed is a little bit cheaper. It's not by much, but it is cheaper. So which truck is the better buy? Now let's talk about cowboy configuration real quickly. You guys know that cowboys love chrome, and you guys can see you got a lot more chrome going on with the Ford. And you might be wondering, why who the heck would want painted bumpers on a cowboy truck? Well, for whatever reason, and I like this idea, Ram decided to make painted bumpers standard. However, if you do want chrome bumpers, front and rear, it would only cost you $95. So there's that. Now, also, two-tone is something that cowboy trucks typically have. Ford comes standard with two-tone paint. So if you want two-tone, you would get this color actually down below. So if you get blue, white, black, you would have those colors with the two-tone of this marsh gray. Ram used to have that availability for two-tone, but they figured, you know what? It's 2026. Let's get rid of two-tone so you can no longer get that. And I'll be honest with you, I wish that Ford made two-tone an option and allowed for a monochromatic look, simply because the wheels that come on the two-tone trucks are kind of hideous. Just being honest with you, I would switch them off pretty quickly. Now, on the front end, parking sensors come standard on the Ford. 360 camera comes standard on the Ford. Ram, for whatever reason, makes 360 camera an option because you have to buy that expensive package. Now, here's what I'll tell you. Even with that package, if you're doing apples to apples, the Ford is still going to be more expensive. So there's that. And you're going to have a lot more incentives on the Ram compared to the Ford. There's no incentives on King Ranch, but there are some on the Ram. Now, as far as the headlights go, Ram does give you the premium lights for the Longhorn. They come standard. On the Ford, these are the same headlights as what you would see on an XLT and Lariat. So these are not the high-end headlights that you would see on the Platinum. Why Ford does that, we'll never know, but they are full LED on both sides, no incandescent bulbs, even on the fog lights down below. Front parking sensors, we already mentioned that. You guys see the wheels? These are not the standard wheels for the King Ranch. They do have a brown accent, which I don't know why they did that. These look so much better. You know, I could have pulled that truck over, but you guys who say I hate on Ford, I did you guys some justice here, because the wheels on the Ram are really, really nice. I think they really go well with this truck, because if you obviously have painted bumpers, this really does go really well together for sure. And Bridgestone tire, which I like better than these Firestones. Now these are the AT2, so these are, I guess, an upgraded Firestone. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how that works out for Ram. You guys see you have the fender flares. They come standard here. There are no fender flares for the King Ranch. They're not available. And here's some of the badging on the side. It says King Ranch, a little bit of chrome. They don't let you know that you spent extra money for the Longhorn here though. I'm not sure why. As far as the mirrors go, I don't want to get controversial, but Ram has better mirrors because top and bottom mirrors are power. You have the light here. You don't have that on this side. Now you do have these forward lights right here, and so does this Ford right there. But yeah, I like the fact they showed that this is a King Ranch on the side. You do have this keypad, not available for the Ram. Smart key system. If you didn't get the chrome package, this would be painted, but you still have this chrome here. You guys see painted door handles, a little bit of chrome there. As far as the beds go, Ram has small beds and small cabs, so Ford's going to win there hands down. Also, if both of these trucks were long bed, Ram would win because of the 50 gallon. Now if you had a long bed Ford, it'd be 48 gallons, but this standard bed is 34 gallons. And if you were looking at a Ram, it would be 31 gallon or 32 gallon, depending on if you get the mega cab. Now, here's the leaf pack for the Ford. You have the overloads, 4 leaves in that main pack. Here is the Ram's suspension. This truck does have air suspension, not available on the Ford. I can't really call a winner there. I would prefer air suspension, but it is at a cost, and it is potentially a failure point too, so take it with a grain of salt. Full LED taillights. Again, these are the same taillights you would see on an XL work truck, STX truck, just saying. I do like the applique on the King Ranch. It looks really classy, and you need to have brightness on a cowboy truck, and it's not bright chrome, it's like a satin finish, and it really does complete the rear of this truck, and it shows that you paid the extra money to have the King Ranch. On the Ram side, you know, they give you a nice limited Longhorn badge. Let's not hate on the Ram. That's nice. It's nice. But that is just more flashy and more cowboy-like. I do like how you have parking sensors on that plastic trim piece versus how they tack them on the bumper for the Ford. Just a little bit more well thought out. This truck does have a lot more camera views. You have tow mode for the rearview mirror. You have a 12-way plug for video and a 7-pin LED lights, incandescent lights on that side. However, this is an assisted tailgate. That's nice. This is assisted too. However, this is also power. So if you want to put this bad boy back up, all you got to do is this. It's going up. If you do that with the Ram, you're going to get tired because this ain't going up by itself. You're going to be doing this all day long because they don't have power tailgates yet. But fifth wheel prep package, it is easier to get a spray and bed liner on the Rams. Bed lights for both sides. Both trucks do have power sliding glass with defrost. However, there is an extra camera at the very top here. If I remember, I'll show it to you on the inside. And on this side, you guys see bed view camera for both trucks. They both had power to pull running boards, although it is an option on the Ram. But most of these trucks are going to have that Longhorn package. So you'll probably see, if you're doing your research, every truck have those. But let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain really quickly. As far as the powertrains go, Ford does have the most horsepower and torque in the segment, so yes, they're going to win in regards to that. Now, as far as the drivetrain goes, I do like what Ram has done. They have the ZF transmission, which is already reliable because the ZF is nothing new, and this is dubbed the Torque Flight, which is basically the power line, which has been used in Kenworth and PACCAR semi trucks. Now, I didn't mention out back 342 rear on the Ram, but you have a 331 and a 355 option for the Ford. And I like the idea of a locker, electronic locker by the way, versus the anti-spin. I don't know why Ram never mind. With that being said, 500 horsepower, 1200 pound-feet of torque out of this high output power stroke. There is no more standard output, high output for the Ram side, so it's a lot more simpler here. So 430 horsepower, 1075 pound-feet of torque, 8-speed versus a 10-speed. And take it with a grain of salt. I think that it just depends on the gearing out back. And this new ZF has deep gears. It's deeper than Ford's for sure, and definitely GM's. And as far as the gas engines go, Ford wins hands down. They have the better gas engine for sure. The 7.3 has what, 430 horsepower, 475 pound-feet of torque versus 405 horsepower, 429 pound-feet of torque. You can get the gas engine with both trucks too, by the way. I want to make that point. However, if you get mega cab in the Ram, you're not getting that gas engine option. You have to go to the diesel. So let's go ahead and check out the interiors, because that's really what I want to spend most of my time at on both of these trucks. This is why you're gonna buy the cowboy truck, the interiors. And ladies and gentlemen, both of these trucks hit hard in the paint. Love the accents that they both do. It truly is the best of the best. Tilt headrests, big seats, nice bolstering, 10-way by the way, and you have the premium floor mats there. Now let's go ahead and check out that Ford. As mentioned, both of these trucks hit hard in the paint. Real wood, nice accents, and brown just goes well with cowboy, right? It really does. Look at these seats too. Absolutely over designed, over the top. But unfortunately, Ram just did not come ready to fight, because you have massage seats on this Ford. But it doesn't just stop there. You guys see the roof, right? I want you guys to really see what color is that on the roof, on these pillars. Actually, all around this interior, they have the brown. Now, on that Ram, they have all the brown too, except right there. Except right here. They do wrap this in leather. But this is a huge letdown when you're comparing these interiors. Now, if we were to go back to 2019, 2020, the Ram would just clean up, because remember, there was 2 cowboy interiors available. Now there's only 1, and that's the same thing goes for the Ford too. But yeah, the lighter color roof, the smaller sunroof option too, because you can't get a twin panel with the Ram, really pushes me to want the Ford more. But again, which truck has the better interior? Now, I will say, when you step in here, you have a 12-inch screen, no heads-up display like that Ford, by the way, but you do have a larger 14.5-inch screen here versus a 12-inch on the Ford. They also give you a passenger screen on this side, which is nice if you're needing navigation, things like that. Now, no four-wheel drive auto for either truck, and as I mentioned, there's no locker for this one, but you do have dual chargers for this truck. Love the center console, the best of the best, and fit and finish, top notch. You have a lot of wood and leather all throughout this interior. I like the design of this. This is all cowboy inspired for this interior for sure. And dual stage exhaust. Let's go ahead and check out the center console for that Ford. Not bad. You guys see their king wrench design here. Also, a lot of wood. This does turn into more cup holders. Now they only have one wireless charger here and then 2 USBs. You do have a lot more USBs on the Ram. The dual wireless charger is nice, but it's not like a huge like advantage, I would say. But as I mentioned, 12-inch, and you have heads-up display, which is not available for the Ram. However, what's not available for this truck is this. I like the fact that this does have the camera here. And I will say, not picking on Ford, but the cameras are a little bit better on this truck. I'm just saying, they're just a lot clearer, especially this one here. Remember this right now. I'm sorry for this, you know, that red thing that you're seeing. My camera's just picking up on that. But yeah, you guys see on this side, Longhorn. And just so you can see this better too, you just have a nice passenger screen. They can listen to their own music, watch movies. And one thing I will definitely point out is Ram has the advantage because of this too, because they give you a rating for a bed camper. But if you don't get the camper package, you don't have this certification like the Ram does on that Ford, basically, because yeah, that camper package has to be added on. So let's go ahead and check out this side of the Ford. Love the attention to detail this truck gives you. And as I mentioned, this pickup cannot be used, or not recommended, it says, for carrying a sliding camper. Okay? Now, as I said, we gotta talk about cameras. I do like how Ford does give you a button on the outside here. You guys see the cameras are not bad, right? But as I said, the bed view camera is just really grainy. And I think that Ford could do a better job with that. Now, I didn't mention this yet, but parking sensors. On the Ram, you can disable front and rear separately. So if you're towing a trailer, you can always keep the back parking sensors off. However, the front ones you can keep on. I don't know if you can do that with the Ford, by the way. Just something to consider too. But yeah, overall, I just think that Ram has the better center console, and I think a lot of you guys will agree. But this cab is bigger. That is for certain. I hope you guys can even see that difference on the size up here. I feel like my legs are just a little bit more further up with the seat all the way back. And it gets worse as you go further back in the cab, because you do have a larger cab back here too for the Ford. But yeah, both trucks give you great design, whether it be in the front or the rear. I mean, you still get that treatment back here. Outboard heated seats for both trucks, and 14 speaker B&O versus 17 speaker Harman Kardon. Yeah, whichever truck you go with is probably fine, but I think that Ford just has the W for me on this one. I like this truck a little bit more. I think the bigger cab, I think that they took the time to give you the matching roof. It just all flows better, you know, with this. And this is a very, very important truck, in my humble opinion. If you're going to take the time to build a truck like this, do it at the highest level. Nothing wrong with the, you know, lighter color roof for some of you guys maybe, but for me, it's just a big deal. I mean, I'm spending $100,000 on this truck, and the last iteration of the Longhorn with the darker interior had the black roof basically, so it just went way better and flowed better. Personally, I do like the buckles that they give you in the back seats. That's really nice. More USBs compared to the Ford, and I do like the floor mats that they give you too. Very unique, and not as much storage underneath the seat here, but you do have this platform that does give you a solid floor surface. So if you do have a large dog, that might be something that would be nice for them too, because you can pretty much sleep back here too on this. But one last time on the Ford here. Okay. And just that storage. So you do have some nice floor mats, but you don't have the all-weather mats with the removable carpet. So that's where I think the Ram wins for sure. You guys ready to see the payload capacity? One last thing too, you do have some storage on both sides with these removable containers basically. Now let's go ahead and check out the payload. Now remember, this is a standard bed Ford, okay? So it has a 12,000 pound gross vehicle rating. You see the rear gross axle rating is 7,230 pounds. Front is 5,200 pounds. And all-in payload is 3,929 pounds, 80 psi for the rear tire, 60 for the front. Gross vehicle rating for this Ram is 12,300 pounds. The rear gross axle is 7,000, so it's lower than the Fords. The front is 6,000 pounds, so standard is going to be better for the Ram. So if you do like snow removal and have a plow, this truck's going to be a little bit better for that too. As far as the payload goes, 3,606 pounds. The rear tire pressure is 80 psi, the front 65. Now this truck has a little less payload because of that 50-gallon fuel tank, so just keep that in mind. This truck has spray and bed liner, but Fords are going to have more payload simply because of the aluminum bodies too. And remember, if that was a long bed, 48-gallon fuel tank, and it would have a 12.4 GWR for the Ford. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I was really excited to do this because in the past I've always done King Ranch versus Rams, Longhorn with like dualies versus single rear wheels, because it was during the pandemic at the time, so it was really hard to find these trucks. But yeah, I had a chance to actually show you almost apples to apples, almost. Who knows, in the future maybe I'll find them apples to apples. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think Ford won this today, guys. I think that the bigger cabs, the well thought out interior, I think when you add a light color roof to a $100,000 truck, it just cheapens it. And I'm just being honest, I think that if Ram still had the darker interior Longhorn, I would have chosen that one with the mega cab. So yeah, Ford just is the best truck right now with the power. It's just a better buy. But again, when it's coming down to discount, that's where I think Ford could do better, because these trucks are sitting a little bit longer. I would like to see better incentives on the Fords. That's the only thing I'll say. But yes, the Ford won this for sure. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section. See you guys soon.